hands up if you've ever been in a band with a guitar player. You go to do a blues shuffle and it's always played in the key of E, isn't it? Now, as a sax player, that's pretty darn gnarly because you're playing an F sharp if you're on tenor or C sharp if you're on alto. But don't worry, next time you got to play a blues shuffle in E in your bar band or your community band or any sort of gig situation where you got to play that dreaded blues in E, I've got you covered this week because I'm going to show you the cheat code for playing a fantastic improvised blues saxophone solo on a blues shuffle in E. I've got a worksheet. Let's get straight into it. So we've got several cool things to work through in this cheat code of playing a fantastic sax solo on a blues shuffle in E. First thing to cover is, if you look over there, the major blues scale. First of all, you start off and you make sure that you know your major blues scale. Now, I did not say minor blues scale, guys. I said major blues scale. And we're going to start this major blues scale on the 5th, not the root. Here's the root. Okay, that's concert E, F sharp for tenor. We're going to start on the 5th. Now, when you get up to that 3rd, you've got a choice. You can either play the minor 3rd or you can play the major 3rd. So here it is with the minor 3rd. Here it is with a major 3rd. And we're just about to come into a really cool strategy about how to use the major or the minor 3rd. Now, it's kind of like a choice. You can choose the minor 3rd or you can choose the major 3rd. So that's your first thing, is to learn your F sharp major blues scale if you're on tenor. C sharp major blues scale if you're on alto. So the chords are the next thing. I always point the wrong way. The chords are the next thing on the sheet, but you don't need to worry about the chords at this point. But that's what the chords are. You've got chord 1. Now, the interesting thing about a blues shuffle, of course, just before I demo the major blues scale, is that all the chords are dominants. They're called tonic dominants. Normally, a 5 chord goes to what? So normally if you saw F sharp 7, then you would be looking for a B major. But of course, with the blues, it's a different kind of thing. All the chords are dominants, but you don't need to worry about that. So you've got chord 1, F sharp 7. Now you've got this optional thing, which is called a quick 4 in the 2nd bar. Your band might do it, your band might not do it, but I'm going to teach you with it in there just in case they do it. Then back to chord 1, then you've got chord 4, which is B7, back to chord 1, and then you've got the turnaround, which is chord 5, C sharp 7, chord 4, B7, back to chord 1, and then your turnaround chord, C sharp 7, is chord 5, taking you back to the top. It's a 12-bar sequence because, hey, guess what? It's a 12-bar blues. Ooh. Okay, now then, let's give you a quick demo of what you can sound like just using the major blues scale. Then we'll move on to a little strategy. I'm just going to play one chorus just to give you the sound. Then we'll look at a cool strategy about how to choose those major minor 3rds to make it sound better. So that gives you a basic idea of what the major blues scale sounds like. Now, here's our first cool hack about how to make this sound really pro sounding and really cool. And that is a little structure to the 12 bars. So for the first bar, you're going to use the major 3rd. For the 2nd bar, if you've got a quick 4, you're going to use the minor 3rd. If you're not using that quick 4 in the 2nd bar, just keep using the major 3rd for the whole first 4 bars. Then, 2nd line, you switch to the minor 3rd for 2 bars, back to the major 3rd for 2 bars. Then on the turnaround, the last 4 bars, you're going to do the major 3rd for a bar, and then the minor 3rd for a bar, and then back to the major 3rd for the last 2 bars. So in total, if you're using the quick 4, there's only 4 bars in the whole thing that you're going to use the minor 3rd, and the rest are going to be the major 3rd. So let's have a go at that, and I'll try and play something that kind of emphasizes that difference. Here we go. Minor, major, major, minor, so that really makes it sound like you know what you're doing, because you don't have that major third of the scale clashing with the chord when you get to bar 5. Now, don't worry about the technical reasons why that is. Just use your ears. You'll be able to hear that it doesn't sound as good. Right, so that's your first strategy, is learning the major blues scale and then taking it to the next level by varying when you use that flattened third and when you use the normal third. Now, don't forget, you can get your cheat sheet using the PDF that you can see down there. Right, let's move on to the next set of strategies. So now, this might be one that you're a bit more familiar with. You're going to learn the famous minor blues scale. So in R key, that sounds like this. That's what the minor blues scale sounds like. However, I've done a few videos on this because the devil really is in the detail when it comes to the minor blues scale. If you just noodle about all over the place, you're just not going to sound very hip. So you can see that I've put in purple up there this thing about moving from the flat 5 to the 4 to the minor 3, because very, very often when you're using the notes of the blues scale, the flat 5 goes to the 4, goes to the flat 3. So if that's something that you get into the habit of doing from the get-go, you're really going to make yourself sound much better from the very start. Okay, I'll do a quick chorus, just kind of randomly playing that minor blues scale, and then we'll move on to another strategy where we can use the major blues scale and the minor blues scale strategically. That is coming up. But first of all, let me just play a quick chorus on the minor blues scale. And after I play this, I've got something very important to tell you about the blues scale. Here we go. So maybe not the greatest 12-bar blues chorus I've ever played, but you get the idea of what that minor blues scale sounds like. Now, if you want to take this to the next level, you can use the major blues scale for some of the 12 bars, and you can use the minor blues scale for some of the 12 bars. And you can see that on the sheet there. And don't forget to go and get your free PDF worksheet, which has got it in B-flat transposition and E-flat for B-flat horns and D-flat horns. You can see that the first bar, you're going to play something with the major blues scale. The second bar, you're going to play something on the minor blues scale. Third bar and fourth bar, major. Bars 5 and 6, minor. Bars, I can't even count. 7 and 8 is major blues scale. And then you've got a bar of major, bar of minor, and 2 bars of major. But just before we get onto that, remember I said I was going to tell you something about using this blues scale, which is very important. So, prick your ears up, and if you learn nothing else from this video, pay attention to this. The phrasing and the groove and the language that you use when you're playing these blues scales is what's going to make you sound good. So, you would be well advised to go and listen to some of your favourite bluesy players, get a couple of really good blues licks, which you can learn and are going to make your playing sound that much better, especially, in fact, exclusively, if you phrase them correctly. Now, I've got a whole course, which I made called Phrase Like a Pro, which tells you all about the articulation, tonguing, scoops, bends, like everything to do with how to sound good when you're phrasing and playing this kind of music, every kind of music, frankly, on saxophone. So it's not just about the notes, even though that's kind of what we're focusing here. It's much more about the groove, about the rhythm, and about learning the language of blues, which is going to make you sound good. If you're not learning the language and transcribing great blues licks from your favorite players, you're just not going to sound good, even if you do these strategies. And these strategies are cool. But if you're not doing the phrasing and the groove, it means nothing. All right, let's give this a go. Now, after I've done this example, I'm going to tell you something about the structure of how you play things, which can also make your blues playing sound really, really awesome. Right, let's give this a little whirligig. Rewind the backing track. The backing track will be available inside the inner circle, by the way, along with another bonus video where I go much deeper into all this stuff. A great reason to join the inner circle. In fact, seeing as I've just mentioned it, why don't you go and check out the link for the inner circle. It's an absolutely awesome community with loads of enthusiastic saxophonists who are there to support each other, and loads of awesome content from me. You'll be backstage with me. There's a inspirational solo every month. There's I'm in there all the time. It's the only place to get access to me, frankly. So go and check out the inner circle. It's awesome. Right, that was a sidebar. On with the blues. Here we go. See if I can get this right. Right, so that was using the two different blues scales, and you can hear that the minor blues scale's got a kind of darker, more earthy, frankly, bluesy sound to it. They're both bluesy, but you know what I mean. And the major blues scale has got a slightly more, well, just not as dark, as a kind of lighter feel to it. So the way that you contrast them can work really well. We've got a lot of really great strategies going on so far. And by the way, before I just go on to the final thing where I've got a little example solo for you, if you like, you know, the way I teach and the information I've got, you can get a whole load more of it with my, go and check out my free Saxophone Success Masterclass. You can see the link down there. All you do is fill in your email and fill your boots. Fill your boots with all that great saxophone information. It's a bit of a classic, that. So go and check it out. Free, it's yours. Right, finally, let's talk about the little example chorus that I've put together here to kind of show you what's going on. Right, I'll play it first, and then we'll talk about what's in there. Here we go. Okay, now, there's a few key features of this solo which we haven't talked about so far, because I'll be honest with you, I forgot about number 6 before I moved on to this section. So let's just circle back and cover number 6, and then I'll analyze the solo for you. Now, what we're going to do here is it says you're going to kind of play the changes on the turnaround, which is the final line. So you've got chord 5, which in tenor pitch is C#7. Then it moves to chord 4, which is B7. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 3 notes kind of from the chord. It's actually the 3rd, the 5th, and the 6th of each chord, which is a bit weird seeing as they're dominant chords, but just trust me, go with me on this. And you're going to use those 3 notes, and whatever you play in the first bar, the next bar you play the same thing and just notch it down. So if you went, the next bar you do the same thing but down a tone. And it really makes it sound like you're making the changes and you're not just in kind of Lord of the Rings one scale to rule them all land. I wonder if I can busk that. There you go. So, Lord of the Rings, one scale to rule them all. That's great. That's where we started. But if you really want to sound like you're smashing this out the park, you want to do something on that turnaround. So I'm going to do a quick example of that. Then we'll circle back to the guide solo. Got it all a bit out of sequence today, but hey, we're keeping it real. We're keeping it real. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, there we go. So I played that phrase on the C#7. Do dwee da 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 dwee da 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 dwee da. And I actually resolved it. So maybe that's even what I did in the guide solo. I can't remember. So let's now circle back to that guide solo, seeing as I've covered that final strategy. And incidentally, you could actually play, if you're feeling frisky, you could play anything from the C#7 chord tones, if you're that advanced, and then anything from the B7 chord tones. Just kind of, it works really well if you step them down and do the same thing. So you could do something like... and it sounds really cool. Right, let's check out that written solo. We're all friends here. You don't mind if I'm dotting around a bit, do you? Okay. So, let's have a little look at the first bar. We've got the major blues scale. Okay. And you'll notice a few things about the phrasing, seeing as we're talking about phrasing earlier. There's a little scoop to the first A sharp. What I'm actually doing is a grace note from A to A sharp on the old better tenor, by the way. Link in the description, eh? And then the notes in brackets are what's called half-tongued. Now, this isn't the video to go into all that, but it gives it a muffly, kind of muted sound. So that first bar, phrased, will go... Okay? Then, second bar, I've switched out the major third for the minor third, but still using the major blues scale. And you might even do a little turn from the final D sharp to C sharp. Or even from the F sharp. These are the little decorations that you can add. That I'll tell you all about it in my Phrase Like a Pro course if you're that bothered. Okay, then second line. We've switched to the minor blues scale, okay? And you'll notice that I'm going from the flat 5 to the 4 to the flat 3, like I said you should. So that's those two bars using the minor blues scale. Then we're back to the major blues scale. Okay, now we're coming up for the turnaround, and I've used that strategy that we just discussed. Then step the same thing down. And there's a fall off on that note, which is where you rapidly put your fingers down and diminuendo. So you get quieter and your fingers go down until you just end up to nothing. Okay, and it doesn't even matter what scale you use. Now, another final bonus pro tip, right? If you are playing the final bar of a 12-bar blues, it's good to play something around the fifth, because it goes... It kind of sets up the next chorus. That's a really cool little hack for you. Right, now what I'm going to do is go back to the backing track for the final time, and I'm just going to kind of forget all these strategies, right, that I've come up with and taught you, and just kind of blow a chorus or two on the blues so you can see kind of what it's like when you take these concepts and kind of run with it and just kind of make it your own. You've made it your own. Okay, here we go. May the force be with me. I'm going to step up the tempo just a little notcheroony. All right, one more. Don't get too overexcited, Sam. All right, so there's hopefully some really cool little tips for you that you've learned today when you go into your, go into the old smoky bar. Well, you never get smoky bars in the UK anymore, but you go into your smoky blues bar, the band are chugging away on the blues shuffle in E. Now you've got a bunch of really cool strategies to make it happen with your sax solos. Remember to go and, I'm all out of breath. Remember to go and pick out your free PDF, which has got everything that you've seen to help you do that. And remember, this is not the full story. The full story is to learn some great bluesy language and gradually start incorporating that into your solos, and to play with groove and feeling and great phrasing. They are the really important things which are going to make this all come alive. All right, as I mentioned before, go and check out the free Saxophone Success Masterclass. As I also mentioned before, you can get a lot more of me, as much of me as you can actually handle inside the Inner Circle membership. It's only the price of a few coffees a month. And there's some really awesome, like, for example, there's some great guests in there. There's loads of new friends that you can make. And believe me, loads of people in there have made loads of new friends. It's really cool. There is an inspirational solo of the month where I break down your, really iconic solos and show you how they're done. There is a bonus video that accompanies every YouTube video. And there is also, well, so much more. We've got, did I mention the guests already? I think I did. There's backstage vlogs where you can follow me. For example, I'm about to go on tour and you'll see exactly what happens in the world of pro saxophone. And more importantly, how you can use it to improve your own playing. Now, final note, as a little experiment, I'm going to do a video every 2 weeks instead of every week as a little trial period. The reason being that I don't want to burn out, and I'm in danger of burning out. How many YouTubers have you seen burn out and just not produce content because it's, the thing is, guys, it's a lot of work making YouTube videos, and I'm all here for it. I'm all here to help you be the best saxophonist you possibly can, but I want to be in it for, years to come. So I'm just experimenting to see how I get on with doing a video every 2 weeks instead of every week. And maybe you can let me know if you think that suits you and what your thoughts are about it. Leave me a little comment. So if you're not subscribed already, please, 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 please subscribe. It's really hard to get the subscriber count moving. So if you're not subscribed, make sure that you click that button. And if you want to be notified when I release my videos, you can select that thing about being notified when new content comes up. All right. Time for me to stop waffling and time for you to practice hard, practice smart, and enjoy your music. Take it easy, guys. Let's do this! Ah, bit my tongue. Ah! That was absolutely rubbish. Oh, I completely and utterly muffed that up.